So I am, like I said, very grateful that you decided to come on because I'm really curious about all these videos that you've posted.
Oh yeah, yep,
A lot of these now, I know we'll get into this, but I think the first one that really drew my attention was kind of like that brown mass that kind of moved behind your
yeah,
wife,
yep.
and I think the only thing to me was it didn't look like it almost looked like a translucent creature of some kind, if that makes sense. Like it was
Yeah.
something almost spiritual than it was more anything else.
Yeah, it's going to sound really strange for these things. Hang on, I'm trying to get this camera right. Um, they, how do I put this? They can be solid.
Uh-huh.
They can cast shadows. They have eye shine. They have smell, but then they can literally come up and put something on your head or give you something and you don't see it, touch you, play with your hair, and then they can do all this weird and wonderful stuff. They throw sticks. We were just out the other night and they snapped a huge tree
I saw that
right
video.
as we walked past it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what they are, I don't understand what they are at all, which is still trying to work that out. But they're intelligent. They understand speech, but they don't always the context. They don't comprehend. That's why I got to stick to the side of the face because I was talking about something else just before that, and they threw the stick and hit me in the face, which could have been accidental as well. But then after that, they gave me gifts, and before that, they gave me gifts. So they just don't quite understand the
Really?
context, and we've sort of worked out how to make contact with them now, and we've found them in 6 areas so far, and how to interact with them.
Okay. So this to me is only interesting in regards to the fact that it doesn't feel like it's a ghost, but at the same time it doesn't feel like it's like a cryptid. It's almost like it's in the middle.
Yeah, it is. It is. What the theory was, with Bigfoot and but they call them Yowies over here. It's the Aboriginal name for the Australian Bigfoot, basically. And we've
Mm-hmm.
got two different types. We've got the really big ones, which are 12 to 14 feet tall, quite aggressive. And then we've got the little fellas. They're only about 3 to 4 feet tall, and they're very mischievous and playful. This is what we think these things are.
Really?
But yeah, but we don't know if they did explain it to me, believe it or not. It's very, very hard to sort of tell you how they did it, but they explained it to me. They can move in and out of dimensions. They said there's dimensions all around us, basically,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the bushland. Some portals or whatever you want to call them come around on themselves. Others are dead ends, and others go to other places, and that's why they build the structures as markers. They're like highway off ramp signs, basically. Exit such and such takes you here. And
Really?
that's how they explained it to me. But what they are, we just don't know at this
Yeah.
stage. It's all new, and but we've learned how to initiate contact with them and how to find them, what to look for.
How did you discover these creatures?
Um, we Well, I've got into Yowie research indirectly because I used to go out and get EVPs, disembodied voices, which leads back to Luca and the whole possession of my wife and the haunting. That's the way I sort of fell into it. So I went into an abandoned tunnel one night and I started recording, and the YouTube videos up there, I got all these demonic voices. There was a disembodied voice that these are all in Old English accents, which date back to early times in Australia. And then there's a boy and girl talking as well. And while we're
Really?
doing that, we had rocks and streams coming down. I put the video up. I said, "Hey, I've got all these strange captures."
Mm-hmm.
And people said to me, and I said, the ghosts. People said to me, "They're not just ghosts. You caught Yowies." And from there, I had Yowie researchers get in touch with me, and then I started going out with one regularly, looking for these things. And we've been going out for a few years. We've got the wood knocks and the tree clacks and a little bit in interaction. But after a while, structure-wise, I never really seen much. Seen the tree breaks, never thought much of it and stuff. So we started doing it by ourselves. And when we went out by ourselves looking for them, they initiate contact with us. What you got to do is when that first rock gets thrown, before that, you go out, you look for their structures.
Okay.
You admire their structures, take pictures. And it's very important if you say you're going to take a picture or stop and admire it, because there's been 2 occasions I've been hit in the head with the back of a rock by a rock because I said I was going to take a picture of a structure and I said, no, it's too far to walk in. So they threw a rock and hit me in the back of the head. And then I had another friend one night. We're in a big group. I was ahead. I was trying to torch on this structure. I was waiting for him to walk down. Then he walked past, totally ignored it. Then he got a meter stick thrown fair at him and hit him, because he didn't stop to look at their structures. So they like you looking at their structures. That's the first step. The second step is they've got to see you have a love of nature. So if you see that bug, insect, bird, whatever, stop, take pictures, pick it up and stuff like that. They like you having a love of nature. That's the other thing we discovered with them. And then after that, when that first rock gets thrown, you do not panic. You do not show fear at all. You have to say, that was great, fellas. Even talk to them and say, that was really good. I'm impressed. Do it again. And then they'll put you through hell after that. You'll have rocks, huge rocks coming down right beside you, nearly hitting you, and all the rest to see if you panic. And if you survive all that, then they're your best friends.
Really?
They start playing with you, giving you gifts. Well, that's the other thing I'd done too. I left them gifts. You look for the arches and logs and you leave them gifts. Fruit, balls, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a gesture that counts. And that's how you initiate contact. The other thing you look for is a water source, bushland, preferably in a corridor, and power lines nearby. If you've got all those 3, guaranteed that they're going to be there. And you just got to wait till they initiate contact with you.
Really?
Yeah. That's what we've discovered with them.
So now you say that you've communicated with them. Yeah. The communication, what is it like? Is it just like the conversation that you and I are having, or is it a little bit different?
It's different. Believe me, I'm the least spiritual person out there. I don't believe in a lot of this stuff. But once you see all this, it just throws everything in question. They come to you in dreams. You just walk there and it just pops in your head. They know. You just know. And that's how they explain stuff. Triangles are very important to them. I don't know why. They did show me some numbers, how they write them with triangles, with lines through them, and how they do it. Number 15 is important to them. I don't know why. And they give you glyphs. I can show you actually what they gave me. I've got them just in the bedroom there. I framed them. They literally dropped them on my lap while I was sitting.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right, I'll just go and grab it off the wall. I was literally sitting there. I got this on video. I don't know how they do it, but they do intricate knots, and they literally drop these on your bag when you're sitting there. Oh, hang on. Which way? That way. How am I getting this on this camera? There you go.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see that.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really, there you go. And you'll be sitting there, and I'll just drop one of those on your lap. Literally put it on you while you're sitting there. That's how good they are. They're just the strangest things I've ever seen. And I don't know, like I said, they're flesh and blood as well as spiritual. We can't work it out. I've got some really good video of eye shine and everything in the bushland of these things. And how they do this, I don't know.
So, in your opinion, do you think that they're using technology to do this or no? Do you think that they're just...
No.
It's just part of their...
Yeah, this is just them. It's what they can do.
Really?
They and they will do everything I ask them to do. I've got videos of them. I put balls out for them. I'll ask them to throw a ball, and they'll throw a ball. Sometimes they'll do it straight away. Other times it might take a couple of weeks, but they'll always do it. Sooner or later they'll do it. I've had instances. Just trying to think. I've asked them. I ask them to throw rocks in puddles and water all the time. and they usually do it straight away. But now they don't even wait till I ask. As soon as I walk up to a body of water, they'll throw a rock straight in front of me. Yeah.
Okay, so now I think the next big question would be: have you taken groups of people out to see this for themselves?
Yes, we have. We had an incident last night, but it's sort of calling into question whether I'm going to be careful who I take out. Because I took a person out, and it just messed with their mind so much they can't handle it.
Really?
Because they've seen it firsthand. Yeah. Some people just aren't ready to see this. Other people are amazed, and I've got other people going, it's demonic, it's evil, all the rest of it. Even though there's no indication that's either or. You've got to remember, hundreds of people walk through these areas every year, and no one goes missing, no one gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I fail to see how it's demonic. And from what we've seen, if they wanted to hurt us, we wouldn't make it in or out there. We'd disappear in there. We just wouldn't make it out.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen that video. They can just do their thing, especially with the rocks and the trees. So. But, yeah, we take people out. I've taken another person out, and he's still trying to get his head around it all. It took me weeks to try and understand what was going on out there, and I still don't understand it. I just accept it, and so do some of the other people I take out. Other people are questioning it all because they're worried about this thing. It's evil out there, but there's, like I said, no indication of that at all. But you can see these things are bad.
Yeah. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there, just for the people who are listening or watching that are skeptics to this.
Yep.
Is it a possibility that it's just an animal?
Not in Australia. Nothing koalas don't drop rocks from trees. Like the rocks drop out of trees, they come from the side, they're thrown with force. There's nothing here that can do all of this. Pick up rocks. We've even had them pick up aluminium cans and throw it at us. Balls I leave for them. They're throwing potatoes, carrots, stuff that we've left there from. There's nothing in Australia that can do that. We just don't have the wildlife. And on top of that, when I go at night, I'm using FLIR as well, and nothing can hide from FLIR except for these guys. So if there's anything around, I'd pick them up. Yeah, thermal imaging.
Yeah.
And we have night vision. And the bush is pretty dense. You'd hear things walking through. From time to time, we do hear these things walk through the bush, but very rarely. Normally, when we glimpse one, it's like they're gliding through the bush. You might hear an initial tree crack if you're lucky, and a grass twig snap or something, and then you'll just see them glide through the bush very quickly and silently. I don't know how they do it at all.
Wow.
It's really beyond my understanding, whatever they are.
Yeah. Now, do you think that they're related to the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot that's in America? Or do you think that this is a completely separate type of entity?
This is the issue we've got. They tick boxes from both sides of things. Everything they're doing is Yowie / Bigfoot related. Yeah, Yowies are definitely related to Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, I think our Yowies are more sort of primitive than the Bigfoot. They're more primal. But it just, none of it makes sense because, like I said, they've got eye shine, they've got smell, and they can be physical, and they can do physical stuff, but then they do this other stuff. But we were talking about this other day amongst ourselves in our group, and possibility of this is a totally new phenomena that hasn't been seen before, or this is what is possibly blamed for being Bigfoot or Yowies. I just don't know.
And the only reason why I bring this up and ask it is because a lot of people in America, when they talk about Bigfoot and they talk about Sasquatch and they talk about their sightings, they always say that they see it, they film it, and then it disappears. It's like it's gone.
Just disappears.
Yeah. And a lot of people feel that it's dimensional in a way.
Yes. It could very well be the same phenomena, but we just don't know. I've even got cast footprints.
Really?
But the footprints I've got are child size. They're very small, but they're very, very fat and wide. They don't make sense. And then with the footprints, not far from where I found that, I've got footprints of an extinct creature here, the thylacine, not far from where these guys were. So whether they're slipping out into the interdimensional sort of portals, even including extinct animals, I don't know. And this is the issue I've got with footprints. Like it'd be a big muddy area, and you might find a little trail going into that area, but there's nothing leading in there or out there. They just go in and vanish, and there's nothing else around.
Yeah.
And also these Bigfoot footprints I got, the little ones, we found them underneath a log deep in the bushland, which is pretty, like I've got to wear boots, I get scratched up. It's pretty hard going in there. It looks as though this thing's squatted, grabbed the side of the log and snapped the whole side of the log off. I've got photos of it, and we found footprints like sitting there as well as on tracks.
So even the little ones are just incredibly strong, is what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah, they are. They're stronger than what we'll ever be. The videos that's snapping that tree the other day, that was 20 centimetres in diameter. I went back there pulling on the tree. I couldn't even get it to bend. I don't know if you've seen that video yet.
No, I was just watching it, actually. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But it was hard to see. So when you were walking on that trail, you passed the tree, right? That snapped, and then it snapped behind you.
Yeah, it snapped behind me, but what it doesn't show on camera, as I swing around, it just narrowly misses my wife and another lady that was there.
Really?
But they had to sort of run a little bit just for them to miss the tail end of it. But the thing is, though, it still wasn't aggression. It was showing us what they can do. They were just playing with us. That's what they do. They do pranks, joke around. And just before that, they're throwing grass on us, ripping out by the roots, throwing grass on us, pulling leaves on our heads. We'll be walking along, and I've got this on video a few times with my wife, and other people come out. They'd pull off a big bunch of leaves, and I'll put it on your head. You'd be walking around for 10 minutes straight, not knowing they're on your head.
Really?
And you see them later on, they're grabbing it, pulling off the head, going, like this. It's really funny, some of the stuff they do. They truly are pranksters.
Very interesting.
Yeah, but what it is, 100%, we just don't know. I've never seen anything like these guys before.
But the one thing you're very sure of is that they are interdimensional.
From what we've seen, it's a very good possibility.
Do you think that this is just one then reality that they're moving into, and that maybe somewhere else they have more of a, I don't know, like a physical embodiment like we have? That's in just another separate dimension? Or do you think that this is something that they live in, but they just live in it, I guess, in a different plane than what we live in, if that makes sense?
I think they live here. I think then they can choose to be either at any time. They can be physical or interdimensional or spiritual. That's what I think. They can choose to be whatever they want to be. From what we're seeing, I can't explain it. I just don't know. I've even got video of one with the shadow being cast when it throws a rock. You can see the arm move across and throw the rock.
Really? I didn't see that video. I'll have to take a look at that one.
Yeah. We're sitting there. We're just sitting down, and then there's a. I said to my wife, I said, there's a shadow. The next minute, there's a rock, and I told her, I said, I've seen a shadow move across, and you actually see the arm swing from behind us in the trees. It's
so now,
whatever it is.
All of these videos that you're capturing, you're putting these up on YouTube, correct?
Yeah, a lot of them. I've got 3/4 of them are actually on unlisted. That's with the balls being thrown and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because people they're just not ready to see that type of stuff, the interaction that we're getting.
Because what I'd like to do is link to your channel below this video, so that way people would be able to go check that out and see the videos and everything that you're talking about. And of course, if some of them are unlisted, that's fine. But I know that the ones that you've shared are really fascinating. Yeah,
I've got the problems with the rocks being thrown is these guys are really clever. They know where the edge of the camera is. So the reason I don't share many of those is because people are going to say, "Oh, you got someone standing off camera throwing a rock." So I just don't bother going through all the trolls, and that's the reason I'm not sharing. Just don't share those ones at the moment. Normally I would, but it's just too many trolls, and I just don't have time to.
Well, I think especially because you're onto something that is new, in a way.
Yeah.
Like this is something that I think people need to understand is not necessarily falling into the same category that we're used to, especially with either spirits, demons, and hauntings on one side, and then cryptid on the other. It falls into the middle category, like we were talking about.
Both. Yeah, it really is. It's both, and I don't, like I said, we don't understand. It's all too new. I just don't understand it myself at the moment. And anyone who goes out there, we take out there is the same. They just had their whole reality just gets turned upside down, and they'll contact me weeks later and going, if I'm commenting on Facebook and saying, I've been there and seen this, and I still don't understand it. They're trying to process it.
Huh. Yeah, this is fascinating. So you were mentioning before about your wife. Something happened with her, which was, I guess, would you call it like a possession of some sort? And then that's kind of how this whole thing like led you into this?
Yeah. It's what happened was we had a severe haunting back in 2001.
Okay.
And then it peaked a second time in 2016, and that's when that happened. And then she ended up in intensive care for 6 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And in between that time, about 2013 is when we got Luca. I'll show you Luca. Hang on.
Okay.
Fingers crossed the computer doesn't crash or something happens. Got to do this because he's a real bit of a. That's Luca. I don't know if you can see him. There's Luca.
Oh yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Just looking at him gives me chills.
Yeah, he's fine. He likes to move. He does move. I've seen him move once. Animals love him. He's the opposite to all the horror movies you hear about haunted dolls. Basically, he'll show you stuff, do stuff, all the rest, but he's not evil. He's totally the opposite.
Yeah, is he a jester? Is that what that is? A jester? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That's really interesting. So he takes on that characteristic as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bit of a joker.
Yeah.
So whatever's in him is a bit of a joker. He was only made in about 2001.
Okay.
But he's a bit of a joker, plays pranks. Every now and then he'll prank you and just do general stuff, turn the TV off on you, or you'll have something sitting here and disappear and appear somewhere else, or he'll move his head or whatever. He just, he's been pretty dormant lately. I don't think he's moved. Yeah, he's been pretty dormant lately. But
so let me ask you then, in the beginning, when this started happening to you, was it more poltergeist activity? Because you described it as a very severe haunting.
No, we had the whole trifecta. We had intelligent, poltergeist, residue. We had everything going all at once, and demonic.
Really?
It was chaotic, yeah. That was when it first happened. It was sort of poltergeist intelligent. The second time it got worse. The worst part, one thing that stands out in my mind the most in the second part were the flies. There were so many flies. I'd go through 3 cans of fly spray within a couple of days.
Really?
I'd walk inside, there'd be 60 to 80 flies, and I'd spray them, and there'd just be more and more flies. Couldn't get rid of the flies. And we were bond cleaners and builder cleaners at that stage. So, we knew all about cleaning, and, we don't like a dirty house or anything like that. Yeah, just couldn't get rid of the flies.
That's really interesting, because I think a lot of people might say, well, what's the big deal about flies? But if you had maybe 1 or 2, I could see where a skeptic would say, what's the big deal about it? But you said how many? 60?
Oh, 60 to 80 per day. And then
day.
I'd spray them, and there'd just be more. Yeah, they'd literally be everywhere. In our old house, the ceiling became so stained. I used to have to get up there and scrub it bleach only for a couple of days later. It'd just be all stained again. It's just all the fly dirt and stuff on there.
Really?
Yeah,
man, that's fascinating.
I've actually got a thing in Google Doc documents. I think it's up to 87 pages now. It documents everything. I've got photos of things. I've got documents from hospitals, police, all sorts of stuff. It's all listed there and laid out for you what happened.
So you were pretty much living a nightmare, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. It's like when at the peak of the haunting, if we had 7 incidents a day without Luca, that was a quiet day for us. I'd get up in the morning and, you know, all our ornaments would be turned back to front, all the cupboard doors would be open. We'd have doors slammed in our faces, doors burst open, the cold air comes through, bad smells, be growled at, scratched, pinched. It was pretty full on. I'd be talking on the phone to people and they'll just drop out. People hear a big growling noise and they'll just cut out. It was the most strangest time in my life. And, yeah, kids grew up with it, but as well as my wife. But the really good thing that came out of it all is that me and the kids and the wife are pretty fearless now when it comes to looking for other stuff. Mm-hmm. Nothing much scares us anymore. So that's the only good thing that came out of all that.
So did you seek out help for the haunting?
Yes. But in Australia, there is no one that can do exorcisms. We don't have the support like the US. There's no one. And I contacted the church even a couple of years ago because we still have things going on in this house. Mm-hmm. It's still with us. It hasn't gone. It's still with us. It just goes dormant. It goes in like 7-year cycles. We're at the bottom of the cycle at the moment, expecting it to ramp up in the future. But the church, all they did was rang me, talk to me about my childhood and all the rest of it. And that was it. I never heard nothing back from them. They needed permission from the diocese. That was it. I actually went in there and I showed the priest videos of Luca and some of the captures, like the little girl screaming, and he absolutely freaked out. And yet nothing happened. I tried a demonologist, and every time she'd come here, something would happen. First time she tried to come here, it daughter fell down a flight of stairs. The second time she got a brain tumor. Oh, the list goes on. Then the third time she got sick again, and so we just gave up on that. It's and every time I try to get help, something usually happens to the person. And so there was even one time that I got the demonologist in, and she got the brain tumor at the same time. I got a big, large lump right here across my throat. I've got photos of it. So we just gave up. But it's not Luca doing it. Luca's he's I don't know, he's a symptom of the problem, or he's been sent here to help. I don't know how you describe him, but it's not Luca. All of this predates Luca for about 13 years.
Huh.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to ask you another question, which a lot of people will think. Do you feel as whatever's haunting or has haunted you is what is out on those trails?
No.
So you think those are completely separate and different?
Yeah, to a point. Whatever is haunting us hates Luca. It's attacked Luca several times.
Really?
It's literally attacked him. Yeah, smashed his face, broken his neck. I've had to put him back together a few times. That's dormant. Luca's separate. Luca is the one that's it's showing us this stuff. He's the one guiding us to where to find his stuff and how to interact with it. He's more or less. It's how come I can go and get EVPs. I can get them in the room right now and spirits box responses and stuff. It's a lot of it's Luca. He's sort of, when you just get that gut feeling, I should set up here or go here and investigate this or that. Well, that's Luca. That's what I feel he's showing us.
Interesting. Okay. So do you think that then the fact you've dealt with these hauntings before has opened up more of maybe a communication pathway with you and your family? So then when you're out on the trails, it's just easier for you to connect with those other creatures then? Yeah,
I think that's probably got something to do with it for sure. I really do feel as though that there is a connection there, like that. I just say I'm just trying to think back. Yeah, it's got to be. I can't think of any explanation, but I'd like to add. I was a skeptical believer, even with Luca, for years and years and years. And my daughter often, would have we had a bag sitting on the table there once, and this is when my wife she was being held captive and hostage and tortured and raped and all sorts of stuff, and we sort of gave up hope. Had a bag sitting on the table is about 15 kilos, and that bag in front of me, my two daughters and my son flew off the table and landed 4 feet away from the table. And I just said to my daughter, I said, "Oh, don't worry about it, it's just the wind." And she just said to me, she said, "You got to stop. You know that wasn't the wind. You know what that was."
Yeah.
And it just got to a point I just had to accept it. We sort of always believe to a certain point, but when it's becomes physical and thrust upon you, you don't have no choice but to believe.
Right.
Yeah. And this is the issue I'm having taking some people out. They believe, but then when things get real, they panic and they can't accept the reality of it. And yeah, that's what we're finding taking some of these people out, showing this phenomena.